Just finished watching Fate Zero Season 2, Episode 1. This was a good continuation of the story, and it was pretty damn interesting in certain areas. But all I have to say is, for my first impressions, is that I was kind of let down by this episode. This episode pretty much resumes where the last season left off, with Saber, Ryder, and Lancer trying to defeat Castor's giant tentacle monster. That's basically what it is, a tentacle monster. And there are witnesses, which is interesting, because the Holy Grail War is supposed to be all secret and stuff, but here are witnesses witnessing this freaking thing with a giant tentacle monster. And then you got the Air Force in their jets, dispatched to fucking, check it out and stuff, and destroy it maybe. But of course, they get owned. But still, I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. Definitely a good twist to bring in the public involved in seeing this shit. There's a dispute between Tokiomi and Archer about whether or not Archer's gonna destroy the frickin' tentacle monster with his noble phantasm. And Archer, being the king of kings and being a snobbish asshole, just goes, no. Why the fuck should I waste my swords on that fucking ugly piece of shit? No. They're on their own. What a prick. There's a pretty cool aerial battle between Berserker and Archer. Berserker pretty much takes control of one of the jets and, uses it to fight Archer. And I thought that was pretty cool as well. Plus, there was an interesting scene in this episode between Kariya and Tokiomi about why Sakura was sent to the Mato family. Sakura, the purple-haired girl, you know how they treated her in Season 1. You know what I mean? I'm not going to spoil the explanation to those who haven't seen this episode yet, but let's just say that, my god, man, Fate Stay Night universe is fucked up. And this episode ended on a twist, and I'm not going to spoil the twist. No, I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen it yet, but let's just say that, well, it came out of nowhere, and you know what? I'm glad that it did happen. So yeah, this episode was focused more on the action, and I have to say, the action was top-notch shit. I really liked the action in this episode. Will they ever defeat this ever-regenerative tentacle monster? I hope they do. However, as much as I like the action scenes, as much as I was like going on and cheering and stuff, and like going, yeah, to the action, this also leaves a bit of a drawback, which kind of left me disappointed with this episode. Since this continuation is so focused on action, it kind of left character interaction a little behind. Now, don't get me wrong, yeah, there are a few scenes of character interaction, mainly the scenes with Archer and Tokiomi, Kariya and Tokiomi, and you know what? Those are good scenes. Those are pretty good scenes. But I was hoping for a little more character interaction between servants as they were fighting this tentacle monster, and well, that didn't really happen all that much, save for a few lines here and there. And that sucks, because I really like the characters in this series, especially Ryder, okay? Ryder is awesome. He's a cool character. I really like his character. He's awesome, And, here he is, just fighting this tentacle monster, saying a few lines here and there, but that's pretty much it. But still, despite that, this episode was still a really good continuation of the series. And you know what? I cannot wait for the next one. Because it is hinted at that Saber has a noble phantasm that can destroy this giant tentacle monster. Unfortunately, Lancer gave her that unhealable injury from last season. And, well, she can't use it. Or will she? I don't know. Maybe? Maybe there will be like a Deus Ex Machina somewhere, and maybe, she will be able to use it against that fucking thing. I don't know. We'll have to see and find out. I give the first episode of Fate Zero Season 2 a definite high recommendation. Definitely a good start, especially if you, watched and liked the first season.